Hello and welcome back to All for United. I'm Simon. I'm here tonight with Reese, Hammer, and Marcel for a Brentford fan preview. And we're from the off. We're going to try and get some positivity back because I think we all lost it a little bit at the weekend. So, without further ado, guys, let's get into it and let's think about how things can change on Saturday. I mean, the title of the video is Ten Hag has to make changes, and I think you'd kind of agree that something has to happen for a different performance on Saturday against a good Brentford side that looked half decent at the weekend. Came back from a 2-0, came back from 2-0 down against Leicester, didn't they? So, I think they got a bit of fight about them as well. So, Reese, you first, mate. What's the key change? And I've kind of said we're avoiding trying to talk about the striker because I think it's an obvious thing that we're going to play a striker. So, is there anything else, or is it kind of just that you think needs to change on Saturday, mate?
Probably going to steal everybody's thunder, aren't I? Really, I think the main thing is that midfield. It's got to change. I mean, other than the fact that the current sort of options that we've got in that midfield are pretty thin, and that's the one area that I think we needed to target in the summer, and I don't think we necessarily have yet. It's the area that we've got to target on Saturday and shake it up a bit. I think we spoke about it on Monday. We did a show on Monday, and the guys were sort of saying, at the end of that show, what is the big thing that we need Ten Hag needs to do on Saturday? What's his target for going into Saturday? And that's, I think, just shaking it up a little bit and being brave. And I think with that midfield on Sunday, playing Eriksen where he played him, considering what we know about Eriksen, if you know enough about football and enough about Eriksen over the last sort of 8 to 10 years, he's retaining sort of deep lining midfielder who can play a ball around from left to right, 40 yards, 5 yards, 20 yards. Playing him in the position he was playing on Sunday was daft, and playing with two hold lining defensive midfielders against Brighton, good possessive team, but they weren't going to offer much in attack really. Something I thought we could go out, especially at home, first game of the season, have a bit of bite, have a bit of confidence, and we didn't. And we've got to change that around. We've got to have a bit more confidence in ourselves, play a little less defensive, to strip away McTominay. I think Fred's still got some sort of role to play in the squad across the season. Do I think he plays on Saturday? I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced, but Eriksen needs to be playing that kind of, that number 8 position. People want to call it number 8, number 6, number 8, whatever it is. Less defensive, more sort of not attacking midfield, just kind of that kind of Carrick role, really. I suppose that role that we've looked for since Carrick has been gone, where it's somebody who can get the ball off the defenders, who can keep the ball ticking over, can have that tempo about the game, and that's where I think we need to focus. Eriksen needs to become a little bit more of a focal point. Is Eriksen the future? Probably not, and that's why we're looking at other players. And I'm not going to mention his name because I think we've mentioned it 1,000 times over the last 2 months. But we need somebody who can do that on a regular basis, and we're struggling for options because a lot of the midfield options that we've got are ones that just want to put a tackle in and offer nothing much else. And that midfield, like I say, the forward line, is it much of a concern? I know Rashford's off form and Sancho didn't particularly play well on Sunday, but I think we dominate the ball a little bit more on the weekend, get them more into play, give them more opportunities to have chances on the ball, and confidence builds from there. As strikers, they're fickle creatures. They need to be on the ball more. They need to have more chances, more opportunities, and form will come with that. So it's the midfield, Simon. I think that's where we need to focus our attention and making sure that we get hold of the ball, get hold of the game, and dominate the game. Really, we haven't done that enough towards the back end of last season. We didn't dominate games enough, and it was too open, too back and forth. And again, on Sunday, it was the same scenario. So yeah, that's where I think we need to sort out, mate, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. And I think we looked a little bit better in the second half once Eriksen got a bit of control and started passing balls and started creating chances. You could see from the chances that we failed to create in the first half compared to Brighton. It's a familiar tale that we've seen for the last couple of years, really, where Fred and McTominay can be decent in some games, but yeah, when we're trying to dominate the ball and dominate a team, it's not quite the same. Hammer, we'll come to you, mate. Would you echo Reese's thoughts there, or would you be prioritising somewhere else on the pitch? You feel free to agree with him, because I think a lot of people will.
I mean, yeah, I agree with it to an extent too. I think my issue is, and he mentioned some of it, is I don't know what, because in my head I have a feeling no matter who else, because I think a midfield replacement is going to happen, but I think one of Fred and McTominay is going to unfortunately still be there. Just because I don't know if I know he said Eriksen has played that deep line role, but then who's going to play next to him? And Fred and McTominay aren't that great. Is it going to be Van de Beek? I don't know if he could play that type of role as well or something like that. Somebody did put up like their starting 11 there, and what did interest me, and I was thinking about it, I don't know if Martinez, and I know he's played some in the defensive midfield, but I don't know if we make that jump already. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that would be like, okay, really, nobody's working out somewhere down the line into the season. Then let's see if he could do it. But also for me, I would say the midfield. Sorry, not the midfield. The defense as well needs a change up, right? I think Malacia needs to come in. At the left back, Shaw was subpar again, and I think Malacia had a decent preseason, so I would want to see him in Ten Hag's system, especially during some real games, not just preseason stuff. And then I think there might be a mix-up in the center back situation as well. I could see Varane coming in, and I was thinking about it for the show too. Like I think we're getting to a point where Ten Hag's not sure if any more is coming in, and I think unfortunately the beginning of the season might end up turning into him just trying to figure out what his best options are with what he has, and that might end up being without McFred or one of McFred. So I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think there could be changes everywhere, to be fair, but in the same breath, I think he's going to want to start building up relationships, and if he goes with taking Maguire out so soon after standing by him, and I don't think he had a particularly bad game on Saturday. So I'm not sure he will.
I wasn't also saying Maguire specifically. I was just saying if there was going to be some type of mix up in there,
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance of it, isn't there? I thought Martinez settled down quite well in Premier League. He had a couple of sketchy moments, especially with that that could have and should have been a penalty. So, but yeah, I think that's one place to possibly stick with. But what's your thoughts on that, Marcel? Where would you change, or would you go against the grain and keep it as it was?
Well, it was just the first game of football. I think we're going to lose football matches under Ten Hag, and we'll win some as well. So, he's talked about balance to the team. And you could clearly see at times there wasn't enough balance, especially in that midfield area. I agree with Reese. I think that's the biggest issue in the club right now is obviously the midfield. It wasn't balanced. Does he make changes to that defensive line that we were talking about? I just think you have to build partnerships in the Premier League. I think he's going to stick with that Maguire, and Maguire played well. I've been a critic of him. Don't think he can play on the halfway line, but he's played well. He played. He was one of the better performers in a poor performance. We lost that game. But, that partnership between Maguire and Martinez will have to grow, and he'll have to learn the hard way. Ten Hag have to learn the hard way. He started by showing that he's going to trust these players. He believes that, there's something that he can get more out of them, and we don't blame him for that. But he's going to have to learn the hard way. We know as fans that obviously that midfield pairing is just not going to be good enough, to get us in, breaking us into that top four or, really challenging for titles. So, we'll see what he does in the market. But as of what he can do right now, I think we saw in the second half, Eriksen in that sixth position, the team just looked a lot better. The ball was going from left to right a lot better, and we was more confident. We had somebody that could get us out of certain pressures, and it was much better. It looked better in terms of balance anyway. Again, like you mentioned, Simon, Ronaldo up front just adds a bit more presence up there, and more clear-cut chances were happening. So we'll see what he does. I think it's the midfield that really needs a big fix. And I think that's why we're going in the market straight away for a midfielder.
Yeah,
so it's a question.
A few, it seems. Go on, Hammer. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and I know that's. I don't know. I don't want to say a FIFA thing, but I don't know if it's something that just overthinking it. But how would you guys feel with whoever else in that pivot, but Martinez, Maguire, and Varane as like a little trio there? Martinez, obviously the defensive midfielder. That would if Martinez can settle well, like you guys saying how he's settling the front. And again, I know it's first game, all this. I don't want to get crazy and stuff. I'm just saying that would be some defensive shit there. That'd be hard to break down. And whoever else, if it is Eriksen next to him, then that would be the person who can spread the ball.
I think personally on that, no, I totally agree. I think there's a lot of potential systems that we could use. I think my worry is, and I think it's been a worry for all of us as fans for a while, is the fact that we don't dominate games like we used to. We don't dominate the ball. It's too back and forth, and you invite pressure too much. And that's why we need to get. That's why the midfield's been such a key issue. I think for United, getting those players that can gather the ball from the first quarter of the pitch or the first third of the pitch and carry it into the second third and transition it from there to the final third of the pitch. And we're not doing that. In the first half at Brighton, it was very much we're banging against a brick wall trying to get out of his own half, and then Brighton were pressing on us and winning the ball in our own half, and then we were inviting pressure. It was only until the second half where Martinez was mopping up with Maguire, where they were sort of building up a bit of a partnership in the second half. Eriksen was dropping deep and playing those balls, and we were dominating possession. And every time it came back, we were able to soak up that pressure and lead it back into an attack again. So it's all about the midfield. If the midfield we can get a midfielder who are confident on the ball and who are willing to get the ball off the defenders and be comfortable under pressure, then I think we could play a system where we've got three at the back, but we can't play three at the back.
Not even necessarily three at the back. I mean, so it would be. I like Malacia
in a defensive midfield.
Yeah. So I want to see Malacia. So it would be those four at the back, and then Martinez in the six, and he'd stay back most of the time, obviously, and that would just be the triangle in there just to destroy people. But
it seems to be better. It's the
only thing I would say
about. Sorry, Marcel, go
on. No, please go on. No, you were saying.
No, I mean, just really quick. He just seemed a little bit better than Fred on the ball. Martinez, didn't he? So there's a potential option that he could play in that role. Yeah, definitely.
It's key.
I agree with that sentiment, to be honest with you. But it's just, we spent so much money for him. I think he's got to go as a centre back. And especially in terms of left-footed players, I think that's a specific thing that Ten Hag maybe would want to try. Like I said, he has to learn the hard way. So later on, maybe being smaller in stature, we move him up to the centre defensive midfielder position. But I just think, he maybe wants someone that's a bit more creative on the ball, can drive with the ball. I don't think back to goal, maybe Martinez was particularly great. Welbeck stole it off him a bit of times when he was, in certain areas in the game. So, and that's what you'll be required to do as the six sometimes. And Fred wasn't good at that as well. First few seconds of the game, he's given away easy, simple pass into the low. We lose possession. So I think he's looking for the right person for that role, that's six role. When you spend that much money, though, Hammer, I just don't think, we're going to put him in that CDM just yet. I think he's really going to see what Martinez and Maguire can do together as a partnership.
Yep. We're just going to come to some of the comments now, guys, because a few people got thoughts on what you guys have been saying and have their own thoughts anyway. So, John, regular on the channel, we need to break up that midfield. I play Eriksen in deep position. Not sure who to partner him, but don't want to see Fred and McTominay. So I think that's going to be quite a popular one. Apex says McFred should not be playing against. Oh dear, that doesn't sound good.
Sorry, sorry about that.
I thought it was one of those cars going past again. Against the Fred should not be playing against the low clubs. Period. Not their fault that they're playing at the wrong club. And Doc United says play anybody except McTominay and Fred. I'm sick of the sight of them. So I mean, without it being a McFred hate show, I mean they have the pluses that I think a lot of us have kind of thought they should be squad players rather than the go-to starting players. So I can see the sense in that. And I will just show another one, actually, because I know the empty Old Trafford thing is floating around. We've had a few people spamming in the comments, though. So I'm not silencing that topic. We just don't want spammy comments. So we'll just leave it. Fair enough, Jarvis. I am behind that with you. In terms of the Brentford game, then, and going forward, is it time to panic, Reese? After that, was that a wake-up call on Saturday, or was that just, I don't know, just first day of the season jitters, or just not having the right players available and just kind of unfortunate timing?
some good questions there. Really. I think for me personally, it wasn't a surprise. I think when you saw the lineup, you saw the first 11, you were like, well, this is just the same as it was last season. This is the same lineup, and you're going to get the same results, regardless whether Eric Ten Hag there. He can't jump in all the bodies and play for them. It's like they've got to play themselves, and we've seen that team pull out some results over the years, but the forward line wasn't there. We've pulled out results when we've had a Martial in there or even a Cavani in there, where we've got gathered something out of a game when everybody's been on song. But the general consensus with that team is that it doesn't pull together at the right time. When there's a bit of pressure on it, it folds. And so it wasn't a surprise at all. I don't necessarily think it's a wake up call. So I think if we didn't have a wake-up call last season after one of the worst runs we've had for probably 30 or 40 years, then I don't know what anybody's been watching, but yeah, it was just another mirror image of every performance we've seen pretty much last season. So he's got that. If it's any consolation, he's got to. Ten Hag's got to look at that. It would have been a pretty lonely place for his first game at Old Trafford to get that result and to feel that crowd coming out of that stadium. He's got to shake it up. He's got to feel that, and he's got to react and not play to peer pressure. Because I think us as fans are quite fickle, especially at Old Trafford. The silence can. I've been there when we've not been playing well, and suddenly we're on an attack. We're right behind the team. Suddenly we lose the ball, and everybody's on the back, and it is a difficult place to play when you're not playing well. But Ten Hag's got to just trust himself, trust his philosophy, and he's got to shake it up now. He's got to see that team. He's got to see the players around him. He's got to trust Eriksen. He brought him in for a reason. And I think we all know. I mean, the daft thing is now is we all know now. None of us are managers, but even we can see the glaring weaknesses in that team and the team that we want to pick. And it just makes you wonder how the manager can't see the same. But hopefully, he'll come to some sense on Saturday and not play Freddie McTominay and play with the midfield that he can. That's probably going to give him something else. So, yeah, I don't think it was a wake-up call, mate. I think it was just a case of, annoyingly for us fans, it's just what we saw last season. It needs a complete change and another reminder that what Ranić was saying last season was true. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think many of us kind of took on board what Ranić was saying, and we knew it was the truth. There's probably a reason that he didn't end up sticking around because no one likes the cold, hard truth. Hammer, do you think it's necessarily time to panic, or will another week on the training ground and key players coming back and players playing in the correct positions kind of rectify this, or is it a downward slope from here? Because we had this last season where we were playing games and suddenly you'd lose one, and then the next run suddenly looks really difficult, and you don't know where the next win's going to come from. Especially Liverpool coming up afterwards, you don't want to be 3 games in and 1 point, no points or whatever. So, are you worried yet, or are you calm and?
Well, I'm usually calm for different reasons, but no, I'm not too worried. It's I'm not gonna say panic because it is one game, and I think something that I think I'm not on all the time anymore because of my messed up work schedule. But like when I am on, I've talked about a couple different things, and one of them is the expectations, right? Like I hope that people aren't. I would like a trophy. I think something like a Europa League we should be in the battle for at the end of the season, maybe even FA Cup, that type of stuff potentially. But I'm not expecting us to have this amazing season. And I think the reason I'm not panicking is because I do believe with how sketchy the rest of this transfer window is looking and how things are getting played out, and something and it's looking more like some of the secondary options are actually that like the backup options, because we don't think we're getting our initial option. So even if we do get any more people, I don't think it's going to be people who are going to make a massive difference. So I'm starting to get to a point where it looks like this season is, at the beginning at least, going to look like I said before in my first comment, like Ten Hag's going to need to figure some stuff out. He needs to figure out who is going to be useful. He needs to figure out what his best starting 11 is. And, I think Reece said it, our fans are a little fickle. And if we do start the season, after the next game like Liverpool or something like that, and we haven't won shit, then yeah, people might start freaking out. But it's a very much a real rebuild, and it's more of a cultural rebuild, if you get what I mean, right? Like we're gonna end up trying to implement Ten Hag very much so in terms of how we want to play, in terms of attitude, in terms of all that, like to get certain things done, and that is how we'll see change. It's not going to be right away, and we might struggle start of the season, but no, I'm not panicking because I'm hoping it turns into future progress to get the club back in the right direction.
Yeah, hopefully, man. Marcel, your thoughts on it? I mean, you're Mr. Optimistic, so I'm going to assume that you're not panicking just yet, but maybe there's a bit.
No way, Simon. I know where the end goal is for me, and it's going to be a step-by-step process. We've slowly, gone down step by step, poor decision after poor decision, and we've got to this place. We have to trust this manager now. He's new to the league. He has to make mistakes like every other new manager that's been successful here, and it will take time. It's a very simple process. I mean, like I said before, he's tried to trust these players. So we might even see McFred again and they might fare better there. For me right now, like Reece has said, these are the exact same players. I've seen these players crumble before. I've seen these players at Old Trafford be very spineless and give away leads before. So we was expecting that. I was very optimistic. Yes, being myself, I thought, the pre-seasons were a little insight to a functional half, sometimes here and there, Simon, functional midfield. But, against a well-drilled side and Potter's side, it's going to be very difficult, but there's a clear structure here. He's building a structure, the wide players are staying out wide and everything else before that is a bit centralized. Once you get the right characters and the profiles in there, the team and will have a clear identity to play to. Right now, he hasn't been backed. It's that simple. He will look for players within the system and the squad. There's still the likes of Zidane, Iqbal that need to maybe or could produce a 6 role for us. So I'm very optimistic with the future of the club. It wasn't positive last game at all. If we're talking about Brentford specifically, another well-organized side, so we have to buckle in for maybe lots of mistakes again, lots of issues again. But again, it's about the long-term goal. This is not a quick fix. Just like what Hammer said, this is going to take a very, very long time for players to understand. You were mentioning building partnerships. We've got the right back and the right wing partnership there that looks well, but we didn't get to see that fluid front three. We didn't get to see Martial play. So that's still something to look forward to if we're looking at positive. He played well, and I think he's maybe the best link for Rashford and Sancho. So maybe something there to look forward to. But we have to see. He's still working on that balance, and maybe we see Eriksen on the 6th on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's got to make a difference as something from the start, or at least someone of that ilk in the midfield, along with Bruno, probably. Yeah.
I just haven't heard anything. Is Martial? It was his hamstring, right? Is it still tweaked or whatever it was? Like he's not back,
sure.
Right?
Reece, have you seen anything online? Any training photos? I've not been on Twitter much today, so
no. If I'm honest, no. I mean, we'll probably find out a little bit more, which will probably be a little bit too late when we're on the press conference later this week. But no, I've not heard anything or seen anything really. But
he said it was only minor, didn't he? So you'd hope that he is coming back, and having options of Ronaldo and Martial is better than going with Eriksen up top, because that plainly didn't work, and it was plainly better when he was in a more natural position, shall we say. So I think there's positivity to be garnered from that, and hopefully we can do a bit better. But I think we did all right at Brentford last year. We won 3-1, but I remember being under the cosh for a little bit. I mean, I think we stood up to some pressure, didn't we? And I think
first 10, first 15.
Yeah. I remember it being like a decided in little spurts of play, but I think we played on the counter, which obviously plays to our strength, doesn't it? And again, we didn't really get to do that on Saturday with how organised Brighton were. We'll just get some more comments. So Neil is in. Evening, Neil. Jarvis is popular in the comments there. Brentford are a good team. I fear we can go on another loss. They've just completed the sign of Damsgaard from Sampdoria. Handy player from the Euros there. Yeah, agree. We're not going to go too much back on on the Brighton game. What Slimmery said, Brentford played decent for yeah, and they do, and it's one of those places where they create a decent atmosphere as well. Even at a 5:30 kickoff we saw last season, Liverpool had that mad game, didn't they? An evening kickoff, like a 3-3 draw. So they've definitely got something about them, and I don't think they've changed too much of the side either. So, in terms of what we think Ten Hag will do, then we'll chat about the team and how we think he's going to address it this week. So, in terms of a back line, then we'll start piecing it together, and we'll use all your votes and create a team at the end. I'm not going to update it as we go along. Just try and do every week because it's too much admin, guys. I just can't be bothered. So I'll put one up at the end when we've finished it. So Reese, who do you think Ten Hag will go with? I think we know it's probably going to be Big Dave in net, even if he had a few slip ups or lapses in concentration again on Sunday. But
yeah, show itself, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Who are you going for?
Yeah, so obviously De Gea in there, which I mean, we don't have any backup options at this moment in time, do we? As well, since we've lost quite a few, let a few good goalkeepers go over the last few years. But I don't think it's going to be unchanged. If I'm honest, I think it'll be unchanged, which probably won't please a lot of fans. But I just genuinely think he'll go with the same backline that he did on Sunday. I think could see Varane coming in, but then who's going to fit? That means Martinez is either not going to play or Amber will get his wish and he'll push up into a defensive midfield role. Or could he play left back? I don't know. There was talk about him wanting to play him left back, but I don't think that worked out, did it? Ajax, I believe he trialled it and it didn't necessarily work out. But I don't know. I don't know if Varane's someone that he wants in that back line. I think it'll be unchanged. If I'm honest, I think he'll go with the same back line. Dalot right, Maguire, Martinez, and Shaw. Personally, I think that's what we'll see.
Yeah, I can't see him making a change at centre half, and I can't see him taking Martinez out or putting him left back. I did see a funny tweet though. It reminded me because obviously Rojo was used in various positions, left back and left centre back. I saw a tweet saying that Martinez is more Rojo than Rojo, and I was like, yeah, he's reckless but not reckless, but like he puts himself about and had a few sketchy moments.
Yeah, it was a bit of a Bailly performance, wasn't it, on Sunday? There was some brilliance in there.
Yeah.
There was equally some sort of like a calamity around the corner, which but I think there's a player in there, to be honest. It's just obviously your first game in. You can see he's got plenty of energy. He's great. He looks good on the ball, really, really good on the ball, competent on the ball, confident on the ball. It's just getting him playing. But as Amma said, it might be a time where gradually he moves into a defensive midfield role. But I can't see it on Saturday, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Hammer, what do you think? What do you think Ten Hag's going to do? Do you think he will go unchanged, or is there a shout for Varane to come back in, or Malacia possibly?
Yeah, mine would be Malacia. I'll take your guys' words on the price of Martinez, and probably too early to start trying to play with positions and stuff. So I'll agree with the center back pair and keeping the same. But yeah, I feel we will see Malacia. I get what you guys are saying about maybe he just wants to keep the pairing and keep the people working together and the defense more consistent. But I feel like Malacia had a good preseason, and I think he can do a little bit more some of the stuff that Ten Hag would like than Shaw is able to. So that's where I would see a change.
Yeah, I don't think Luke Shaw particularly was awful. I think I'm robbing this comment from I think I'm robbing it from Andy Mitten or some other United podcast I've listened to. But his understanding, he raised a good point. That his understanding with Rashford, if it is going to be Rashford on the left, is valuable in terms of Shaw. But obviously it's Simon Lassie for a reason. So maybe it does come in. But yeah, I don't think Shaw did too much to earn being dropped. No more so than anybody else anyway. Yeah, Marcel, who do you think he's going to go with? Do you think it would be unchanged, or do you think he will start? We're talking
backline specifically.
Backline specifically, and goalkeeper. I'm just assuming that you're not picking Tom Heaton, to be honest. But
yeah. No. David De Gea will stay in. Yeah, David De Gea will stay in. But I do think Malacia has to be part of this side. I think Luke Shaw had some sort of role in both goals in a small way. Show the player down the line. It's very simple. Strong left-footed player. Show him down the line. Simple football basics. and wasn't great with the combinations with Rashford, even though I do absolutely agree with you. Fantastic combination they do have, but just hasn't been the caliber, I think, Premier League caliber fullback for us. So Malacia needs to come in. The partnership is going to be a staple of this team. I don't think that will change a lot throughout the season. Availability is one of your best abilities. Maguire's got that in bundles. So he will be around for a while, and he's the captain. He said that in the media a few times as well. So he will be there. Martinez again has his part to play in that defensive role, and Delors may be the best fullback at the club. So yeah, that will be our back line for sure.
Yeah, well, that's possibly a worry on the Delors front, isn't it? But...
Yeah.
Can I also say real quick? I was going to comment on the Reece part. I mean, one of the reasons I'm a little bit like Stu, and I maybe Neil as well in terms of like center back and just having that type of certain attitude. And the guy's nickname's the Butcher. I would love to see that in that 6 role. Just fucking, what I'm saying. I like that type of player. I was that type of center back when I did play. I want to see the attitude, and I feel like it would be pretty good to see in the midfield. But that's just me, overthinking things.
I think if you were to get Varane into that as well, if you were to push sort of Martinez further forward and get Varane into that lineup then as well, it's like you'd feel like there's quality there in abundance, and you're getting everybody into that team, aren't you, as well? I do agree with the Malacia thing, by the way. When he came on, I know he had sort of 10-15 minutes, and Lamptey, to be fair, I mean, Lamptey's quality little right back. If I'm honest, I think he skinned Malacia at one point, and it was kind of a bit of a welcome up, but he pressed the ball really, really, really well, and his energy was quite reassuring. I think what he's got over Shaw as well is his fitness levels. Shaw just looks overweight. He looks unfit. He doesn't look like he's ready. And
he used to get on like a LeBron James, Ronaldo diet shit. Shaw.
Yeah, I think he struggles, mate. I think he really struggles to sort of shift it. Whereas some players don't struggle at all. They can do 2 weeks pre-season and they're straight at it on full fitness. Shaw needs to work a little harder, and it shows. He looks overweight, and I think in a Ten Hag system, it's going to flag. It's going to flag up, and I totally agree on the Malacia thing. I'm just unsure whether he'll be brave enough to go with it, but
yeah. Well, in terms of the defence, John agrees that he'd start Malacia. Ron says midfield was so scared to get the ball, but in terms of defence, Delors, very average defender, better going forward. Malacia has more grit than Shaw, who's also scared of the ball. So it's, in the predicted 11 anyway, we can confirm that we're going to have Malacia because 2-1. So that will be who we think he goes with. So in terms of midfield, then, because this is the point of contention, we'll include Bruno in this, or whoever we're going to have at number 10. We'll keep the forward 3 separate to this. So we're naming presumably 3 midfielders here. First off, guys, in the comments, let us know who your midfield 3 would be in whichever formation we're going for. Reese, who do you think he will go with after seeing what happened on Sunday? Can he do that again? Will he do that again, or who do you think he's going to go for?
I don't think I wouldn't go with this, but I think he will go with Fred as the kind of defensive midfielder. I don't think he'll play 2. I don't think he'll play McTominay. I think he'll go Fred. I think I'll go Eriksen and Bruno. Bruno playing slightly further forward. So Fred sort of providing that cover and Eriksen being a little deeper, and Bruno playing that kind of box to box, really, I suppose, or that kind of attacking midfield position. So yeah, I think that's the 3 he'll play. I could be wrong. I mean, I think he stripped Fred off first, didn't he, on Sunday, which was a surprise to me, because I thought McTominay was far above and beyond the worst out of the 2 of them.
And he was on a yellow. He still didn't get taken off on a yellow.
Well, yeah, exactly. And Fred was shaking his head when he came off.
Didn't he almost? He made a little sketchy tackle in the second, didn't he?
Yeah, it was close, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, he was riding his luck a little bit, but no, I hope, and I put faith in the Ten Hag not picking McTominay on Saturday, sorry, isn't it? And then going with Fred, and then, like I say, Eriksen and Bruno. I think that'll be the 3 goes with.
I think that's the most exciting combination, but it's more getting Bruno and Eriksen in the correct positions. I know they're in the same team at the weekend, but it didn't really work the way you would be envisaging it working with actual forwards playing up front. So yeah, I'd like to see that, but toss of a coin between McTominay or Fred, whichever's playing in that deepest lying role, you're still not quite comfortable, are you? Whichever one it is, but obviously people have a favourite out of them too.
I was a little surprised, not to back to the game on Sunday, but I was a little surprised that he didn't trust Bruno in the position he played Eriksen, because I thought it suited Bruno a little bit more to play that position, that kind of false nine.
Yeah.
I think they switched a lot, Reece. At moments, it wasn't really a clear, definitive false nine there at times.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe they thought that they were similar sort of like styles, but I think Eriksen, especially as you get older as well, you sort of tend to do that. I think Eriksen just kind of wants to play a little deeper. I was a little surprised that he was playing him so far forward, and but I think he'll do it on Sunday. I think he'll realise that mistake and want Eriksen in that deeper role.
Yeah. Hammer, what do you think he'll do? Do you think he'll do the same thing, or will he surprise us?
No, I'm kind of with Reece. I was thinking of this earlier before the podcast too. I feel like he would want to get Eriksen just back into a central role, mainly because I think what everybody was talking about can agree on. He has that where he can sit back there and play balls and control, and with the other two, neither one of them can do that. And then the issue was, who's it going to be? I don't know. I don't know who he was going to pair him with, and I kind of agree with Reece and you guys. McTominay had the worst game, so it's probably going to be Fred to hopefully play that holding role. And then in that point, is he going to be disciplined enough, and is he going to, at least in my eyes, going to keep it simple, right? Like I don't need Fred trying to act, prove us that he's Brazilian, because nobody really believes it anyways. But right, like he should just keep it simple if he is playing in that sixth role. Stay back, play the defensive part, and then play your simple passes out. And maybe he'll do a good job. But I'm agree with Reece on that one with the midfield.
Yeah. Marcel, your take?
So are we doing, Simon, our own idea or what Ten Hag wants? Because I've got
what we think Ten Hag wants, and then you can debate whether that is what the correct thing to do in your eyes.
Okay, so what he will do, he will most probably go unchanged, I think, unfortunately, because it's only the second game of the season. I think he still maybe wants to get across his ideas, but and I think clearly it's not the right balance. So he might change Scott, but most likely it's going to be Bruno in the 10. That's his most productive position for us. Mm-hmm. And then he really might change Scott. He's gone into market, I think, for a central midfielder. And if you maybe bring Eriksen in the 6 and Fred in the 8, you maybe get a better balance there. What I would have most probably done is I would like to see Ghana play. I think against Real Vallecano, Ghana really showed the kind of Scott/Fred qualities in terms of the pressing and the tenacity, and quite a solid player. And I think he's ready for the Premier League now. If he wasn't in the Man United squad, he would have been at Nottingham Forest playing in the Premier League. So I would maybe put Ghana there, Eriksen in the 6, Ghana in that midfield kind of tenacious Edson Alvarez style, very aggressive, and then you put Bruno in there to fill in the gaps higher up the pitch and do the shadow runs. That maybe might be your best balance. If it's not Ghana, then it's Fred. I would say Eriksen, Ghana, Bruno, or Eriksen, Fred, Bruno. One of those.
Yeah. Well, I've got you one that you think Ten Hag will do, but I take your point on Ghana. You had something to say on Ghana, Hammer?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess Marcel went and gave his point of view. I've been wondering, because I was on a podcast before, and some people I can't remember who it was exactly, but they were thinking he might not be ready yet. Do y'all think he's paid his dues on his loans? Like he should at some point, even if it's maybe not in the beginning of the season, maybe it's a little further in the season, given some run of games for us in that position to see if he can do it for United at this type of level. Like I know, like especially the most recent loan. Like you think he's did enough to take that?
You think that I'll go first before everybody else jumps in on that one. You think that if he starts getting 10, 15 minutes at the ends of games, if we can find ourselves in a position where we're actually comfortable in games, or even if we're not, but that's where the Europa League comes in for players like Ghana, and I would think we'll see him then. I think he has plans for him. I don't think he actually can send him to Nottingham Forest, can he? Or did it? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think you can have 2 players on loan from the same club, can you? So Henderson's there already. So you can't have his sort of comfort zone of Forest again. So maybe he goes somewhere else in the Premier League. But I think he has plans to keep him around and use him progressively. I think. I don't know what your take on that is, Reece.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of hype around him. I've only seen him in snippets, really, mainly kind of towards the kind of back end of the season when obviously Nottingham Forest were kind of only for promotion. So there was obviously a few big games coming up, and he seemed to rise to that. So yeah, I don't. I think the team that we've got at the minute, it's worth a crack, isn't it? I think, and that might sound silly, like, you know, at this kind of level, really, but what have we got to lose? You know, we're going into games kind of really doubtful. I mean, we're playing Brentford on Saturday, guys. We're Man United. We should be going to that game expecting to win. Like, you know, obviously based on recent form, we understand that's not very as realistic as we always expected, but we should still be going there with the level of squad that we've got and the level of talent that we've still got in that squad, and going to win the game. That should be our aim. We should be going there to win. So, we, you know, I was doubtful about his midfield and even worried about how to introduce Ghana. Like, really, teams at this level should be really introducing players of that ilk gradually. And we're not in a position to do that. We're almost panicking and worrying and trying to snatch every player we can just to try them out in those positions because nothing's working. And it's not the way you want to introduce a young kid. I mean, I've been very vocal about using these young players. You know, we've got an abundance of young talent in the minute, haven't we? From Hannibal to Zidane Iqbal to Garnacho. You know, it's just rife with young talent, but it's been thrown in because, you know, we're struggling to fill positions and to get a harmony in the team. Ghana looks like he could do a little bit, but he needs. You can only really check him out if you're going to play him, see how he gets on. I won't say start him. I think that'd be a bad option, really. But I think if it's 0-0, 1-0 to United, or even we're 1-0 down, bring him on. You know, give him half an hour. Give him 30 minutes and see what he can do. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It looks good, Simon. And I think, you know, we've got to start trusting these young players and giving them a chance rather than looking outside all the time and looking external. Let's look at these kids and let's give them a chance. You know, he's done everything he's been asked to do, hasn't he? So
that's what the club's about, isn't it? Marcel, do you have anything to add on that before we move on? Or
yeah, I mean, Ghana, it's a good point. I mean, he's young. He is young. But in terms of just being able to mold a player, I think that's more, you know, Scott's game's kind of defined now. This will be someone that you can really introduce to this style of play. And again, you know, think about the likes of Phil Foden. You know, it was very sparingly at the beginning of his career that he was used to be introduced and be part of the City team. So you do want something like that, you know, in a perfect situation, but we're not in a perfect situation now. Right now, this balance is not there. This McFred really needs to be broken up, like someone in the comments said. So yeah, that'll be just, hopefully he can get some minutes, James.
Yeah, we'll come to some comments now because we've had a few on the midfield front. Jarvis is back. Why don't we give Ghana a run of games? Lad has potential last season. He's 21, deserves a fair chance, at least when McFred is totally out of form. McFred is, as if it's one person. I like it. Adam we're giving his whole team, but I can see Eriksen, Van der Beek, and Bruno in there with the option of Martinez as a central midfield. That would be very attacking if you got Eriksen, Van der Beek, and Bruno. Whew. Although, Ronaldo's in. No Rashford. So yeah, maybe there's some people swapping around there. Another vote for Ghana. Fred, Ghana, Bruno. No Eriksen in that one. Lucky says Ghana needed badly. And Adam says, to add to his point, as long as McTominay doesn't start, I don't mind. I mean, I think there's a fair chance that McTominay doesn't start. Last one on this front. Apex, after season with McFred, I would play Bruno, Van der Beek, Eriksen all season. I mean, someone's going to have to defend. I don't know which one of them's going to do it, but
Donnie?
Yes. Yeah. I think maybe, well, we ended up with that, didn't we, at the end of the game anyway, with Van der Beek and Eriksen when we were pushing. I think that's the sort of situation where we'll see that sort of thing rather than as the default sort of setting for the game. Right, we're at the strikers and the forwards. So we're going to, it looks like we're all picking three. It's kind of been set in stone that it's Rashford and Sancho either side, and then the argument that I'm pretty much sick of already of Ronaldo or Martial through the middle. But has anybody got anything different? Any curveballs, any Langas, any Garnachos or anything like that? Or do we think he's going to go with what he trusts And even so, what does he trust at this point? You first, Reese.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's going to definitely be them two either side, and I think he's got to start Ronaldo. I think when Ronaldo came on sort of in that second half, and granted we sort of dominated the game, we got hold of the ball a little bit better, we played a bit better with the ball. He looked a threat. He looked like if anybody's going to get on the ball, it's going to be him again, and he's going to score a goal. So he looked lively and stuff. It's obviously the big question is whether he can last a full 90 minutes. It's another year gone by. What is he now? 38, going to be 39 next. He's obviously at a certain age, but I think he's got to start him. I think after everything that's been surrounding him over the summer, I can't believe we actually talked about him starting, because the way it turned out 2 weeks ago, we didn't think he was even going to be turning up. But with Martial out, I don't think he's going to be fit enough to start. I would love to see Garnacho, talking about throwing young players in. The kids seem to have an abundance of confidence, and I think if you've got that kind of level of confidence, then they're not worth a chance. So I think I'd hope to see him in the game at some point on Saturday, because I think that would be brilliant. On the left hand side where he can show what he's about in a game where that matters, because he pre-season he looked lively. I know we've seen that from other players, Ahmad and Palestri and stuff like that. Is he another kind of one of that ilk, but he's a lot younger. And obviously had a good FA run last FA Cup run, didn't he? FA Youth Cup run last season. So does he deserve a shout? I think he looks good, but yeah, generally I think it'll be unchanged. I think it'll be Rashford left, Sancho right, Ronaldo up front. My only issue with the kind of the fullbacks really and the two wingers is that is what we're getting from them in the service we're getting from them. Really, they're not crossers of the ball either necessarily. Shaw and Dallow's crossing on Sunday was pretty poor, but the Rashford and Sancho aren't looking to cross. So it kind of makes Ronaldo a little bit redundant in there, but I don't know. I think we'll see that again. And to be honest, again, like most of the midfield or at least the back line, we haven't got very many options, have we? So
no,
unfortunately, we've just got to go with what we think is the best, which is probably them three.
Yeah, I'd agree with your take on Garnacho. He looks like he's just got confidence and swag. He does look born for it, doesn't he? I don't think he'd be overwhelmed being thrown in if required. I mean, I thought it was a bit strange that like we've alluded to before about Eriksen starting in that position that he did on Sunday, when you could have chucked Rashford through the middle and gone with Garnacho or Elanga or someone off the left or something like that. So that was a bit of a strange move, but maybe it just points to the fact that he's not seen enough of him yet. He did play a lot of minutes in pre-season, did Garnacho, so maybe that's one thing. Hammer, who do you think his front three is going to be at the weekend?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to agree. I agree with the sentiment of all the BS that went on with Ronaldo. It's annoying that he's probably going to be starting. And I know I asked about Martial, but even if he is healthy again, I think in all sports, a hamstring, anything is nothing. You want to just throw somebody back in to start. Next thing you know, he pulls it again, and it's a bigger hamstring issue than whatever the original point was. So yeah, I think it'll be Ronaldo. But also on the Garnacho thing, I don't think he'll start. I think that would be a little dramatic from Ten Hag. But I will say it does seem like Ten Hag likes the kid. He sees something that he could use in the kid. So we might definitely see him, I think. I think if Rashford is struggling again, we might see him come in, and maybe not just for, 10 minutes or so. Maybe it'll be like, hey, go show us if you can do something.
Yeah, it can't hurt for Rashford to have someone behind him in the pecking order that's genuinely gonna give him a run for his money. I mean, Elanga did that on both sides last season, but I still don't think everybody's entirely convinced that Elanga's going to be got such a high ceiling, whereas I think Garnacho, I think a lot of people have got higher hopes for him. So yeah, it can't hurt, and I think we'll see him more and more off the bench, especially. But yeah, so you're going Ronaldo through the middle, and then the current obvious two, either side. Marcel, what do you think he'll go for? Do you think he'll go exactly the same?
Simon, I mean, what there's interesting. So I put Bruno in the 10, but he looked lost at times. In that game, he could potentially go on the left. I would also say, Rashford was most productive in the preseason when he had the captain's armband, was playing through the middle. So that's something maybe to look at throughout the season. But he will go with the exact same 11 everyone's been saying, Ronaldo and the two obvious candidates on the left or right.
Yeah, so that
just a quick question on. Oh, sorry, Simon. Yeah, I just got a quick question on the Bruno thing, really, because don't get me wrong, I'm a massive Bruno fan, by the way. I'm not going to come here and sort of start slagging him off, but he's a very unusual type of player, isn't he? I can't sort of pick out kind of what his strengths are necessarily. I don't think his passing is necessarily his strength, although sometimes he does pick out some good passes, but other times he's quite erratic with his passing. He can finish, but then sometimes his shooting is way off. And I just wonder, kind of from your guys, what you guys think, whether he actually fits into a system that we're trying to figure out. Because at the minute, it just seems like he's always kind of like the odd one out, but yet we feel like we need to play him. So, yeah. What do you guys think?
I think every manager so far has felt tied to kind of playing him as a number 10, and then also, just ended up shifting him around, and the same sort of way Pogba got shifted around towards the end. He was playing off the left. We've seen Bruno doing that on occasion recently, only in fits and spurts. And then Rangnick said he wanted him as one of the 8s, and that towards the end of last season, I don't think we saw the best of him there. Not saying he can't do that, because we didn't see the best of particularly anybody, did we? But yeah, I think we got stuck in playing a 4-2-3-1, didn't we? Where Bruno is the 10, and that couldn't change. It had to be that system to get a productive Bruno when he was at his best. But yeah, I think it's up for debate now, where he plays and on occasion whether he plays. I don't know if anybody else has got anything to say on that. Hammer?
He's a fantastic player. He's a fantastic player. And when we gave him the keys to the team, he was the most productive player in the team and carried us. So, but, if his best system, Ollie found that, the counter-attack system, because I do think his passing range, his long passing range is good. But he has to roam around the pitch, which kind of disrupts a structured team, and that's a problem, because then you don't see him in the 10 space a lot. He's got good shadow runs. And he's effective in that final third in terms of goals and assists. It's just he has to taper his game now under a Ten Hag system. I don't think he's going to be utilized enough or well enough in a 10. I think he's an 8. It's ironic that he's got the number 8 shirt. He should have been playing maybe in that Scott McTominay position last game. You maybe see a Donny van de Beek as a better Ten Hag 10 in my opinion, or an Eriksen as a better Ten Hag 10. I don't think Bruno's maybe the right fit for that, but it's a good point. In a Manchester United title winning team, I don't think he ends up being in that squad, just because he does look a little bit of a misfit, but he's a fantastic player, and we've seen that he can deliver for us. So I think every other manager since then has tried to cultivate that same Bruno that was under Ole, but it's very difficult. And Rashford has to be a part of that. He had very good long passing range into Rashford, and Rashford will be able to benefit a lot from that. So it's very hard. He has to change his game and find a new way to fit into this team. But the 10 Bruno is definitely gone now.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because I'll continue in a second, Hammer. It's weird because it was all kind of in front of Bruno playing on the counter attack, and that that suited him. And we're seeing more and more the struggles when teams sit back against us. It's not quite the same, or if he's not as good with his back to goal. Whereas maybe, like you say, Van der Beek might suit that sort of thing more in that sort of situation. So, but we all the managers have tried to get away from playing counter-attacking football, even though it's arguably our strength with the players that we've got, which is part of the weird situation. Yeah, Hammer, your thoughts anyway?
Yeah, mine is, and I know some people don't like me bringing in some different like American football examples and stuff, but the only reason is because they recently used this for somebody, and I'll use it for this, even though the people who use it over here didn't use it for a good reason. But I think it applies to Bruno here, or ironically in that. So just real quick, I know not everybody watches, right? But like, there's the quarterback in NFL football, but on the offense, right? And that number 10 is kind of like the guy who helps connect everything, run everything, keep everything moving, play those whatever type of passes you want. And the person they were talking about, the point of argument came to that he's a good football player, American football player. Oh no, sorry, he's a great athlete and a great American football player, and he's a good quarterback. And I think that kind of applies to Bruno. I know we said there's some things where he's not like, you can't really figure out everything he's amazing at, but I think he's an effective and a very good footballer and a good number 10, if that makes sense. Right? Like he brings a lot on the field, but when you in a certain position you want to play him, he's okay at it and he can be effective, but he's just overall, he can bring you goals, get you assists, do this. But I think Reece said it, or I can't remember Reece or Marcel, but like he also likes to roam a lot. And he's all over the field at times and stuff. So that's how I thought about it.
I think you're all right. I think Marcel hit on the end as well in terms of like when he came in that mid-season, it was January, wasn't it? And we were kind of still going for Champions League, and he was basically handed over the full keys. And he just, when the team's sort of around Bruno, he seems to thrive on that. Obviously, then gradually from that, we knew we had to build and gradually bring players in, and then it didn't suit him. So yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, I'm a fan of his. I really am, and I agree with Ollie. I think he's a fantastic player. It's just whether does he fit this system and this what we're trying to achieve. And on Sunday, for me, he escaped criticism because I didn't think he really turned up at all. I can't remember ones where I was like, "Wow, Bruno, that's fantastic," or whatever, or even Bruno, what are you doing? It was almost like he was just non-existent.
I was saying, Bruno, what are you doing when he skied that chance? To be fair,
he missed a sitter. Yeah,
in the first 10 minutes. Yeah, take that one back. Yeah, but other than that,
yeah, we'll just get some comments for the last bit. So Luke says Fernandes, Ronaldo, Sancho. I'm assuming he says Fernandes off the left there. Then that's an interesting one. Neil says I think we know Neil's thoughts on Ronaldo over the last few weeks, but Ronaldo will be a backward step in my opinion. Savage, Zidane, and Garnacho need a looking at. I don't think he means as a front three though. I've seen one comment as well. There's the one. I'm assuming this is a trolling comment, and if it's not, I'm just going to shake my head. let's not have that. And John, go on. Well, you can have your say. He's not come on the show, but he gives opinion and everything. You might as well have come on, John. What are you doing? So Sancho, Ronaldo, Rashford, which is what you guys gone with, and that. So just to recap on that, we have ended up with that team. So De Gea in goal, Delors, Maguire, Martinez, and Malacia as the back four. Fred as presumably the 6, and then Eriksen and Bruno kind of either side of him as 8s, I imagine, or Eriksen as an 8 and Fernandes as a 10. And then Sancho, Rashford, Ronaldo. Not Martial, but I think that's partly because we're also unsure of fitness levels and stuff like that. Although Ronaldo's only had 90 minutes so far, so there is that. So we're going to, last but not least, we're going to come to the score predictions time and see if you can get a first goal scorer. Now, I can tell you last week that absolutely no one got any points. No one got the correct score because everybody was positive and predicted that we'd win. And nobody predicted Pascal Gross. So no points so far. So there's a chance to top the leaderboard if you can get the correct score in the first goal scorer. So, Reece, let's have it. What are you going for, mate? Is it positive?
It's definitely, it's positive. I'm going to go for 2-1 United. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a tight game. And I think we'll either get a penalty or it'll be a scrappy corner goal again, I think. So I'm going to go for pen, and I'm going to go Ronaldo scores the first goal with a pen.
I do. So not a really scrappy goal off Diogo Dalot's armpit or whatever it was.
I was going to be like really sort of brave and say Malacia back, like nicks it in the back post or something like that. But no, I think.
Hey man,
I think we'll get a pen. We'll get a pen or something like that. I think we'll get, and then But
we need to start getting more of them. It did us in last season. Not getting as many.
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of corner goals, did we? And we didn't get a lot of penalties either, did we? So, no.
Hammer, what are you on for your score prediction and first goal scorer, mate?
It's going to be very similar to Reece. So I was going to go 2-1 as well. I was thinking 3-1 for a second, but I was like, we're not going to get that. It's not going to turn that positive right away. That's not going to happen. So I'm going to go to 2-1. But I just don't like penalties. So I'm going to say I was going to say Ronaldo, but I'm going to say that Ronaldo. Screw it. I'll take an extra step. I'll say a Ronaldo little, just where he sticks his foot out, but across from Malacia as the assist.
This is very specific, right? I've decided I'm in charge of this point system all season, and if you get the specific type of goal, and you're going to get an extra point. So that is
you get the prize straight away.
Yeah. Ben just gives you 500 quid out of his pocket and just sends it to you. Just give him your.
I'm from the States. I'm gonna need that conversion.
Yeah. Well, pay a pallet or something. I don't know. Marcel, what are you going for? Your predicted score in your first goal scorer, mate?
3-2 United. It's gonna be, still frantic. We haven't scored a goal yet in the Premier League, so and I mean one of our players. So it's gonna be frantic. It'll be good attacking the play, but Ten Hag doesn't really care too much for defending, and that midfield balance might mean goals. It'll be a counter-attack goal. Marcus Rashford scored just like how he did at Brentford before. Good counter-attacking goal. He hasn't been on form, but he'll be the first one to score. And then obviously Ronaldo and hopefully Bruno or Ronaldo too. But Rashford will be the first one to score. 3-2 United.
I like the sound of that as an entertaining game. It sounds like it might be a bit panic and anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
You got Need for Speed going back again though, Reece, I see.
I know, he just turned up, didn't he? I think he must be like stream sniping me or something like that. So yeah.
Right. I'm gonna actually get my prediction this time because I didn't do it last time because I had so many guests. I forgot to actually give my own. So I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. I don't think we'll be in the groove just yet, but I'm gonna go for Christian Eriksen first goal and 1-1. Don't know why. I don't really have any reason for that. It's just off the top of my head. So
just because I played it out to the point of the cross, can you say it's type of goal? Are we gonna see a nice little Eriksen free kick or something? Actually, never mind. If Ronaldo and Bruno are on the pitch, he's not getting that goddamn ball.
No, that's true. Maybe going off his ass or something. I don't know. We're only going to get scrappy goals for the first bit. So yeah, we'll just get some score predictions from our viewers, and then we'll head off, guys. So here's John again. 5-1 United. Yes, please, John. Oh, in fact,
drinking tonight.
No, he's only messing 2-1.
Oh, right, there we go. Yeah.
What else have we got? I've seen some more. I'm sure I've seen some more. Lucky, hope for 2-1 United. Jarvis is going for 2-2, a bit more cautious like me. And I don't think any more score predictions. What a letdown. But hey, so good luck to you all, guys. If you hopefully you can get some points on the board and win that big prize pot that definitely exists. Don't worry about it. There is £6,000 to this winner. I can assure you. Just not on my.
You've seen it. You've seen all the notes there. All safely. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a briefcase just down there. Yeah. All right, we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it for the day, there, guys. So thank you for watching, guys. Keep liking, subscribing to All for United. Keep getting in the comments because again, been great on the comments tonight, and plenty of people watching along, which is always great. We do a preview show every Wednesday, and we've got tactical specials throughout the week. Thursday, I believe, Ben should be on with his press conference one on Friday, presumably after Ten Hag speaks to the media, and then there's spaces after the game for the match reaction and the show on Sunday night where you can kind of absorb the whole weekend. So there's plenty coming up on All for United. So as ever, I ask you to follow all the Reds on the panel. All the usernames there are on there for Twitter. I presume it's just Twitter. So on that note, guys, thanks to everybody. Thanks Reece. Thanks Hammer. Thanks Marcel. I've been Simon. We have been All for United, and we will see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.